Welcome to Football Scientific. I'm Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub and the CFL News Hub. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas. I cover the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I cover the IFL, the Indoor Football League, the NAL, National Arena League, the ELF, the European League of Football, and the NFL. Today we're going to go through a lot of football news from the last couple days. It's jam-packed. Also going through my power rankings from the IFL, the UFL, and the NAL. There'll be a lot to unpack here. I'm going to go pretty quick because it's late and I don't have a lot of charge on my phone battery, honestly. So I'm going to go pretty quick. But if we need to go back and talk about things, hit me up in the chat and let me know if we need to talk about some things. So people hit me on some thoughts about the draft, the NFL draft. I have my round one mock draft ready to go. I'm hoping to go through that tonight, but we're going to go quickly through this. Okay, so first, NAL, and my co-host, Wolfie D. Sorry, don't forget about me, man. Don't forget, okay? Wolfie D in the house. Wolfie D in the house. Okay, here we go. So first in the NAL. Big news in the NAL, big bad news. Their NAL YouTube channel got shut down. Boom, got shut down for copyright infringement because of the music played in the games. Obviously, this is not the first time that's happened, but this is why the IFL and the AF1 have got their own streaming service, is because they didn't want to get hit with these copyright infringements. I guess YouTube's cracking down on this kind of stuff. So, NAL's YouTube is shut down. I've heard they may try to get on Twitch, some streaming service, but they have games coming up this weekend, so we may not get to watch the NAL anymore, and that'd be pretty boring. But we did get to watch the NAL up until today. So here's a few outcomes of the NAL. First, Saturday night, the Shreveport Rougarou played the Louisville Savage and beat them 55 as well. They just did what they do. They're really good against lower level teams. So that was Louisville Savage from the IFA, and they dogged them. The IFA's weak though. Shreveport's probably not the top 10 in the NAL, but they are good against other teams. So they belong in the NAL based on their results. Colorado Spartans facing the Las Vegas Kings. Similar idea, they won 69-8. They dominated. The Kings they're an IFA team. They're not built for this. Okay, and then the big game of the weekend was the Beaumont Renegades, who are now 2-0, facing the Omaha Beef, who are now 3-1. So that's a spoiler alert. The Omaha Beef got their first official NAL loss in their history. Beaumont Renegades quarterback Carl Robertson III came out, went 10 for 12 for 30 yards. Not a lot of passing. No touchdowns, one interception, so maybe they shouldn't have passed. They ended up putting up 36 points with a strong running game and great defense. Boom. Omaha Beef, Lorenzo Brown went 16 for 31. He threw for 168 yards and a touchdown. They look like more of a traditional indoor football league team. Unfortunately, he also ran he ran 4 times for 38 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they looked like more of an indoor football league team, but the Beaumont Renegades defense is legit and shut down the Omaha Beef several times going into the end zone and got the ball back, including the last drive of the game. Omaha Beef got it down to like the 5-yard line, and Beaumont Renegades stopped them. So the Beaumont Renegades are 2-0, and they beat the two teams that played for the NAL championship last year. They beat them both. It was the Omaha Beef and the Sioux City Bandits, so they're very good. They don't have any fans. They don't have any fans. There's no fans in the stands, but they are a very good team. Kind of a waste. I went 3-1 in the NAL this week, 3-1, which is a good time for me, and that's supposed to be at 11-7 in NAL predictions. They're all over the place. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep covering the NAL. If I can't watch them, I don't know if I want to keep covering them. So I don't know. Goodbye, NAL. But one NAL transaction is Idaho Horsemen after beating the Carolina Cobras. They released offensive lineman, defensive lineman Nazir Jones-Clark. So they got rid of him. I guess he didn't play very well. Okay, so with these results, here's my updated NAL Week 6 power rankings. Number 1, Beaumont Renegades. They beat the Omaha Beef. Omaha Beef are number 1. Beaumont Renegades are number 1 now. They're 2-0. Only undefeated team left in the league. Omaha Beef, still very good. They're number 2. They're 3-1. They're number 2. Sioux City Bandits, number 3. I'm not sure where they fit in there. They both lost to the Beaumont Renegades. They're probably all pretty similar in terms of how good they are. 2-1. Okay. Sioux City Bandits. Bandits. Number 4, Columbus Lions. I got them at number 4 because they lost to the Carolina Cobras, who are not looking that great. Every week that the Carolina loses to Wheeling and Idaho, that Columbus Lions team looks less good. They're probably the best team in the American Conference, though. They'll probably be in a championship game. I don't know who they'll be, unless the Beaumont Renegades get them, because Beaumont Renegades might get. They played this week, I believe. Beaumont Renegades play Columbus, so we'll find out really who the better team there is. It's hard to say right now. Renegades have a legit defense though. Columbus is all over the place. They have a great defense too, as well. Number 5, Colorado Spartans are 2-2 in the league, still 2-2 to number 5. Idaho Horsemen have bumped up from the last place to number 6. Is a big win against the Carolina Cobras in my mind. Carolina Cobras have fallen all the way. They're 2-2 now. Carolina Cobras have fallen down to number 7 with 2 straight losses. Really, 3 straight losses? They lost 3 in a row. They started off 2-0, and then they lost 3 in a row. So they're sitting there. They got to play Shreveport Rougarou. If the Rougarou beat them, Carolina's in trouble, honestly. Number 8 with Wheeling Miners, who beat the Carolina Cobras, who's probably be in front of them if they're 1-3 still. So I can't put a 1-3 team in front of a 2-3 team. Honestly, not as bad as Wheeling Miners have been, other than being Carolina. And in Shreveport Rougarou, they're 1-2. They're at the bottom. They've only beaten the only team they've beaten was Wheeling, and Wheeling's number 8, and they've lost everyone else. So they're in there, but they're not that great. Rougarou, we went 3-1. Got it. Okay, good. All right. Next in the IFL. A lot of games in the IFL this week. Fisher's Freight, who were undefeated, 2-0, traveled to Massachusetts Pirates. Massachusetts Pirates are very tough at home. They were 0-2 though. This game ended up being a shootout back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. At halftime, it was a close game, but Pirates are ahead 33-31, I believe, at halftime. And then in the second half, Pirates started pulling away. At the end of the third, it was 40-31. But then the Fisher's Freight replaced quarterback Jaya Wright, even though he's been very good. They replaced Jaya Wright for Keenan Shoemaker, and it paid off. He threw 2 touchdowns. What really undid it for the Fisher's Freight, it ended up being 47-47 in the last minute, and Massachusetts drove the ball to the 12-yard line and kicked a 22-yard field goal for the win to win 50-47. But really, Fisher's Freight missed out on 3 extra point opportunities, an extra 3 points. So that's why they lost the game. So honestly, it would have been a tie, probably going overtime if they would have got their extra points. Sometimes in NAL or IFL, it's just extra points, and Fisher's Freight got bit by missing extra points. Okay, so they're 2-1. Massachusetts is 1-2 now. Okay, and that's going to knock Fisher's Freight down a little bit. Iowa Barnstormers traveled to Quad City Steamwheelers. Remember, they played last week too. Quad City beat Iowa in Iowa. More of the same this week. Quad City won 52-37. Why? Iowa Barnstormers threw a bunch of interceptions. You can't throw 3 interceptions and expect to win a game when you can't run the ball. Honestly. Quad City didn't play all that great. Daquan Neal only was 5 for 12 for 65 yards. He had 2 touchdowns through the air, and that's pretty much what he had. And the rest of the team pitched in. Good team defense. Everyone pitched a little bit of offense. Iowa self-destructed. Boom. So what happens? Quad City wins 52-37. Quad City's 4-0 now. Iowa's 0-3. Starting to see where these teams fit in. Okay? If you don't have a running game, you're going to have a hard time winning games in the IFL. Next, Jacksonville Sharks traveled with Tucson Sugar Skull. They figured this was going to be a beatdown. I feel like Jacksonville is going to come in and smack down Tucson, but that did not happen. Instead, both teams came out and played really well. Both defenses, let's go back on that. Both defenses played really well. Both defenses got stops, they got turnovers, but here's the difference maker in the game. Tucson had a new quarterback called Iman Caldwell, and he threw 4 interceptions. He went 7 for 24 for 54 yards, and he threw 4 interceptions. And the fact they only lost 28-21 is amazing to me. Tucson Sugar Skulls played horrible. Jacksonville Sharks could not make them pay for their mistakes and kept coming up short in the red zone and gave this team a chance to be in the game until the 4th quarter when they finally pulled away by 7 points. That's not even pulling away that much. Jacksonville, that's a bit of a letdown. I think they started believing their own hype that they're a really good team, and they came in and almost lost to Tucson. That can happen in the IFL. You come in and you start playing sloppy. Tucson had 8 tackles for loss in this game, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble recovery. So without the 4 interceptions from Iman Caldwell, it probably would have been a good win for Tucson, a huge win for Tucson, but they couldn't get it done. They self-exploded. It's hard to win on the road. Jacksonville started having a hard time with that, so you know how it is. San Antonio Gunslingers, they were, okay, so Jacksonville's 3-0 and Tucson's 0-2. Okay, all right, 28-21. San Antonio Gunslingers traveled to the Arizona Rattlers. Once again, a tough place to play against a really good team. San Antonio Gunslingers started looking like them old selves, okay? So they went 13 for 22 passing with Malik Henry, 201 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The 2 interceptions are what's going to get you beat in this league all the time. Arizona didn't play that great. Dalton Sneed went 8 for 22 for 70 yards, and he ended up scoring, 4 rushing touchdowns. He ended up getting 4 rushing touchdowns. The running back Ron Brown Jr. got 4 rushing touchdowns. Jamal Miles, he got a touchdown. It was a running game and defense. But the difference in this game was the 2 interceptions. Okay, so Arizona wins the game 63-55. Okay, but the difference in the game was the 2 interceptions by San Antonio Gunslingers, and that's how it's going to be. They're going to shoot it out. They're not going to play a lot of defense. This is what I expected from them early in the season. If they can do it against a less good team than Arizona, they can get some wins with that format. That recipe is a winning recipe, but not this week. Arizona beat them 63-55 to stay undefeated at 3-0. Gunslingers at 1-2. Okay, next. Last night, Northern Arizona Wranglers played the Bay Area Panthers. Wranglers are 0-2 now. Bay Area Panthers are 2. And what's that tell you? Bay Area won 50-28. What's the deal here? Well, the real deal here is that the best players from Northern Arizona go to the Bay Area Panthers, and their coach went there, and the Wranglers are starting over, and they're basically an expansion team. And that's what you saw. Josh Jones, who used to be a Northern Arizona Wrangler, went 12 for 15 on 20 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good team effort. Josh Tomas had 2 touchdowns on the ground. This is a good team effort. They had 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions. The tying thing is if you throw interceptions, you lose possessions. Not only do you take your points off the board, you also potentially set the other team up for points on the board. And that's how you lose games in IFLs, by turning the ball over. That's it. If you don't turn the ball over, you got a chance to win every game. If you come out turning the ball over, and that's why crossing routes are so valuable in these leagues. If you think about it, they're the safest routes. Just dump it off, dump it off, dump it off, dump it off. Don't turn the ball over, you got a chance to win every game. Okay? Unfortunately, Wranglers didn't do that. They lost 50-28 because 3 interceptions. You can't have 3 interceptions. Bay Area had 1 interception, but it wasn't enough to counteract the complete, breakdown of Northern Arizona's offense. So that happens. Okay, so with that in mind, we have our IFL power rankings now. At number 1, I got the Arizona Rattlers at 3-0. Okay, I mentioned they're the league champion from last year. They're going to be my number 1 until they get knocked off. They have not gotten knocked off yet. 3-0. Jacksonville Sharks. They've been the second team since the beginning of the season, and they're still number 2 at 3-0. They did struggle against Tucson. That's a little bit questionable. We'll see what happens. Their offense was not clicking, and they still won the game. So if your offense is not clicking on the road, you still win the game. That's a good win. Quad City, they're 3-0. Quad City Steamrollers are 4-0, but they've only won against weak opponents. Okay, so Massachusetts was 0-2. That was probably their best win on the road in Massachusetts. They beat the Iowa Barnstormers twice. They beat the Green Bay Blizzard at their house by 2 points. Green Bay Blizzard's a pretty good team, but they beat them at Quad City. If they go to Green Bay and beat them, I will bump them up maybe to number 2, but probably not. Arizona Rattlers and Jacksonville Sharks are locked in at 1-2. So Quad City is probably as high as they can get right now at number 3 at 4-0. Okay. Number 4, Bay Area Panthers are back in the mix. Okay, 2-1. They put 2 wins together. They look pretty good. Maybe they're kind of coming together. They add a lot of pieces, so you got to get chemistry back together. Fisher's Freight were number 4 last week. Now they're number 5. They got beat by Massachusetts. They probably should have won that game. They had a good chance to. Their special teams blew the game for them, so they lost their first game. Green Bay Blizzard, number 6. They got a huge win against the Tulsa Oilers in overtime, 74-68. Crazy game. I thought for sure Tulsa was going to pull that game out, but you know what? They were playing well, and then they started fumbling snaps. And it comes back to fundamental football. If you can't play fundamental football, you're not going to win these games. And Tulsa fell apart in the last part of the 4th quarter and overtime. They just got TJ Edwards fumbling the ball all over the place, and that's how you lose the game. Green Bay Blizzard didn't fumble the ball, and Max Myler, while he might not be the flashiest player in the league, he's solid. He's solid. He won't lose the game for you. He might not win it, but he won't lose it for you. TJ Edwards lost the game for Tulsa. That was embarrassing. You can't be rolling around the backfield trying to get the ball because it hit him in the hands with the snap. I blame TJ Edwards, okay? With that in mind, so Green Bay's 2-2. That puts Tulsa at number 7 at 1-2. They only dropped a little bit because they still played pretty ill. Their defense did not show up. Green Bay's defense did not show up. 74-68. I never expected these teams to score that many points in a game, but neither defenses decided to play. I got Tulsa Oilers at number 7, 1-2. San Diego Strike Force are 1-2. They won at Vegas. They beat Vegas, so they played Vegas 2 weeks ago and they lost 48-41 after having a big lead. This time they play in Vegas and they beat them. They knocked them off. They finished the job this time. San Diego is now 1-2, and I got them at number 8 because Vegas Nighthawks are number 9 because San Diego beat them, so you bump up in front of them. Okay. Vegas Nighthawks took an L 2 in a row. Lost to Jacksonville, lost to San Diego 2 in a row. You get bumped down, guys. You're at 9 right now, and they'd be out of the playoffs in my mind right now currently. Not good. I mentioned I thought they would be all over the place. There's a way to beat them, and that is to keep Jerome Johnson contained and make him throw the ball, and you're going to have a chance to win. And this is the second team in a row to do that, and they're going to see that might become a big problem for Vegas. They have a lot of talent, but it all goes through Jerome Johnson. And if you keep him contained, he can't make the plays. He doesn't have the accuracy downfield. Okay, San Antonio Gunslingers, they almost beat the Arizona Rattlers. They came up 8 points short. I got them at number 10. They're 1-2. Massachusetts Pirates move up to 11. They're 1-2, but they beat the Fisher Freight, which is a really good win. Now it comes down, can you put 2 wins together? Okay, are they going to be able to bounce back from that, or is it going to be it for a while? Number 12, Tucson Sugar Skulls. I bumped them up to 12 because they should have beat the Jacksonville Sharks. That would have been the biggest upset of the year. And 28-21, they had a chance, but Emond Caldwell threw the game away. 4 interceptions. You can't have that. Number 13, Northern Arizona Wranglers, are 0-2. They look like an expansion team right now, more so than Fisher Freight. Fisher Freight might be in a boat where they didn't beat a quality team either because they beat Northern Arizona, which looks bad, and they beat Tulsa, who were sloppy, just like they were sloppy against Green Bay. So they might not be that great either. Fishers might have had a bloated record there at 2-0. I was afraid that might be the case. I have not been picking Fishers. I think it's hard to win as an expansion team, but I picked them because I was wrong the last 2 weeks about them, so maybe be wrong again, but I was not this time. Massachusetts beat them at home. Special teams. Okay, number 14, Iowa Barnstorms 0-3. I mean, their worst record in the league, 0-3, and they don't have any running game, and I don't know how they're going to win any games. I bet they'll win a couple. I don't know how. That's my power rankings in the IFL. UFL. 3 games there we have not gone over. So on Saturday, Houston Roughnecks played the Memphis Showboats in the Garbage Bowl. I call it the Garbage Bowl because both teams are garbage, okay? And I knew what was going to happen in this game. Both defenses are going to play fairly well. Both offensive lines are going to play horrible. Neither team's going to be able to run the ball. And it's going to come down to which quarterback plays better, either for the Roughnecks or the Showboats. And they played all their quarterbacks. So Anthony Brown started the game for Houston Roughnecks. Came out 8 for 15, 40 yards, 0 touchdowns. QBR 59, horrible. E.J. Perry came out for the Memphis Showboats, 13 for 20, 121 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 60.6 QBR, horrible. And then Nolan Henderson came in for the Roughnecks and got on fire. They were down in the third quarter, but he's on fire, went 10 for 11 for 80 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. And Troy Williams came in to do the same for the Memphis Showboats to give that a boost. We went 4 for 8 for 63, and that being the difference. Nolan Henderson put them over the top, and they won 18-17, and now they're not 0-3. They're 1-2. Memphis Showboats are 0-3. That will be reflected in the power rankings. Sunday at noon, San Antonio Brahmas played the Michigan Panthers. Must-win game in my mind. San Antonio Brahmas, Michigan came in short some personnel, came in with some injuries, came in not with any kind of rhythm after getting beat by Birmingham the week before. Unfortunately for the Brahmas, they lost their offensive coordinator, A.J. Smith. They brought in Cody Latimer to coach the receivers. Peyton Party ended up being the OC. And it turned out to be a pretty good mix. Wade Phillips tapped out. He went to the locker room. I would be sad, too, if my team was a championship team and then we couldn't win games anymore. But I think Wade Phillips is about done, guys. I think he's about done. He's about tapped out. They ended up having a head coach by committee. So Peyton Party and the D coordinator, they kind of just made it work. They made it work, and they almost won. Kellerman had his best game probably in his professional career. He went 19 for 31 for 153 yards, 1 touchdown, his only touchdown as a professional football quarterback. That was to Anthony McFarland, who's had 2 catches for 21 yards and 1 touchdown. Now here's the stat that gets me. Anthony McFarland ran the ball 7 times for 54 yards. That's over 12 yards a carry. Why didn't we just keep running the ball? And so we kept throwing the ball to Jacob Harris, 4 catches, 56 yards. He keeps dropping passes all the time. Jonte Kirkland, 4 catches, 28 yards. They keep dropping passes all the time. Why not just run the ball Anthony McFarland and give yourself a chance to win? I don't know. They make things so complicated. But a little less complicated when A.J. Smith was there. I think A.J. Smith was running an offense to try and get himself another job, but it didn't work because it's too complicated for this league. It's just, people ask all the time, why are these offenses so bad in the UFL this year? Because they want to be too complex. This is not the NFL, guys. You don't have these guys year after year after year. You don't come in and have 3 weeks of training camp and 5 preseason games, 4 preseason games or whatever. You don't have that. You have 2.5 weeks to get ready. You can't be putting in everything, and that's a high school mistake. You put in everything you got and then you stink at all of it. And that's what these UFL teams are doing right now. They're not helping themselves in terms of product because the teams are just not playing sound football. That's all you got to do. Play sound football, people will come show up and watch. If you play garbage football, they're not going to watch that, okay? San Antonio Brahmas, getting better. They're getting better, okay? All right, they had 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss, and an interception, which gave them a chance to win the game. Michigan Panthers came in, kind of beat up. Quarterback Bryce Perkins went 17 for 23. It's a good day, 193 yards. That's a good day. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the goal line on zone keeps. It was like zone read, he kept it. Jaden Sheridan had 7 runs for 54 yards. They had the back-breaking run was in the 4th quarter, and the Brahmins were down by 2, 15-17. Okay, they scored and they missed the extra point. And then right back, Michigan Panthers came out and ran the ball 54 yards and scored. And that was a backbreaker. That put the game away, not officially, but unofficially. I mentioned there's 3 things the Brahmins had to do to win this game. Okay, first, they had to come out and they had to have Kellerman play an efficient game, which they did. Got that one. Boop. Number 2, they had to come out and they had to stop the Michigan Panthers running game. They did it except for that long run. Boop, which ended up separating the Panthers to give them a lead. And then they needed to win the per turnover battle by +2, which they did not. Okay, they won it by +1. Oh, not enough. They lost 26-23 to the Michigan Panthers. Michigan Panthers are 2-1. And in second place in the USFL Conference, San Antonio Brahmas are 0-3 in last place in the XFL Conference. So sad. Oop, and maybe they'll keep getting better. Maybe they'll get a win next week. We'll see. Okay, DC Defenders announced that the DC Defenders, so the last game of Sunday was DC Defenders and St. Louis Battlehawks. What was announced at halftime is that the UFL Championship game is going to be at St. Louis again, 2nd year in a row, because they're trying to get a game with a bunch of fans in it. It got shot down last year because they're hoping to have the St. Louis Battlehawks play the Birmingham Stallions. I guarantee they're hoping that. So you get tons of fans, 30-some thousand fans, and then San Antonio Brahmas crashed the party and made it there. That's why they're not making it this year. I guarantee you, it's scripted to not make it. The Brahmas are not going to crash the party again. They're making sure of it. That's sad, man. That's sad. I don't want to say it's rigged, but it feels that way. DC Defenders played St. Louis Battles. They don't care if it's rigged. They have a great defense. Okay, if you have great defense, it doesn't matter if it's rigged or not. Okay, DC Defenders came out. Jordan Teamu did what he did. He played horrible. He's a dumpster fire, 17 for 37, 343 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, QBR 72.2. I saw in a Reddit post during that game that he should be benched, but guess you can't bench him when you're, spoiler alert, 3-0. Okay, you're 3-0. You can't bench him. Running back Abram Smith came out and started looking pretty good. 23 yards, 50 yards. That's like 2 yards a carry. That's not great, but it's better. And Deion Jackson, 8 runs for 54 yards. That's better, more explosive runner. Wide receiver Ty Scott had 3 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. Here's the real story. Defensively, 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, 9 tackles for loss, 1. The defense murdered the St. Louis Battlehawks. That's spoiler alert. What they ended up doing really is they did what I mentioned. To beat the St. Louis Battlehawks, you need to stop the run and force Manny Wilkins to make plays. And they did that. Battlehawks only had 45 yards rushing and 39 were by Manny Wilkins running for his life. Okay. What happens to Manny Wilkins? He goes 16 for 29, 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Boom. He melted down because you made him have to win the game. He cannot throw the ball downfield. He's a good check down guy and he likes to scramble, and that's all he's got. Okay. Running back Jacob Saylor did nothing on the ground. He had 7 runs for 1 yard. He did have 7 catches for 91. He was the leading receiver. Frank Darby caught the only touchdown pass, and they had 0 sacks. They got beat by the defenders' defensive line, and they lost 27-15 in St. Louis when they announced the championship game. So I mean, that's a downer for the UFL, but it's good for everyone else. Good job, defenders. Good. Then there was a bunch of personnel changes just tonight. So DC defenders released offensive tackle Darius Harper. They have moved, unfortunately, wide receiver Ty Scott, their best receiver, to the injured reserve list, leaving out for at least 5 weeks. Memphis Showboats released free safety Tenny Adewuse, released inside linebacker Yavandi Rigby, and they signed outside linebacker Andrew Dowell and signed defensive tackle Jamion let's see. Michigan Panthers, they released offensive guard Grant Miller, and they signed quarterback Alan Bowman. They made him deactivated. He's going to be our number 3 quarterback. Ron Stone Jr., defensive end, got activated for them. And Fazion McClurge, a good receiver for them, has been deactivated. So, I mean, that's not a good sign for them. They're going to be hurting for receivers, guys. They traded away, Marcus Sims, who's a good receiver for them. Birmingham Stallions, they moved offensive tackle Jaron Jones to the injured reserve. They've been coming along slowly, and that might hurt them. That might hurt the pass protection. You can't lose the left tackle and still protect your quarterback, so that could become an issue down the road. St. Louis Battlehawks moved quarterback Siobhan Cordero officially to the IR list. They picked up Trey Self to replace him. He's injured, out 5 weeks. Okay. All right, next, my UFL power rankings. Number 1, after beating the Battlehawks, they had the top defense in the league. They remind me of the 1997 Baltimore Ravens, where the offense is enough to not lose the game, but the defense comes out to win the game. Even without a head coach or a defensive coordinator, Blake Williams, not a D coordinator. They won the game against the Battlehawks. It's a big win. You're only undefeated team at 3-0. They're number 1. Number 2, Birmingham Stallions. They look like the best team in the USFL conference. They're starting to ramp up. They had to come back and beat the Arlington Renegades, though. Tough game. Arlington should have won that game. Controversial call where the Birmingham Stallions jumped out, false started, and got an interception that play. Got another play, went down, scored, won the game. Arlington was mad. Number 3, Arlington Renegades are number 3, 2-1. They almost beat the Stallions. Should have been 3-0, honestly. Fluky stuff happened, and that they took that L. Number 4, St. Louis. That knocks St. Louis down from number 1 down to number 4. That's bad because the other teams played good, and St. Louis played horrible. And they exposed Manny Wilkins. If you stop the run, Manny Wilkins is going to throw the ball away all the time. Okay. Number 5, I got the Michigan Panthers at 2-1. Number 5, Michigan Panthers. Why? I don't think they're a great team, and they're losing people every week. They're eventually going to hit a wall. I think they'll make the playoffs because the team behind them is the Houston Roughnecks. Houston Roughnecks beat the Memphis Showboats. I don't think they can beat anyone else. Maybe the San Antonio Brahmas, honestly. Probably beat the Brahmas and go 2-8. I think Michigan's got a safe lead right there. They might be 4-6, 5-5, but they'll be second place in the USFL conference. Just because the rest of the USFL is so bad. Houston Roughnecks are horrible. San Antonio Brahmas are 0-3. They're buried in the XFL conference right now. They're buried. They got to do a lot of work to get out of that, and they just don't look like that team right now. They don't look like the team they looked like last year. Last year they got kind of lucky too, and they're not getting any kind of luck right now. Number 8, Memphis Showboats. If you lose to the Houston Roughnecks in the Garbage Bowl, you become the worst team, 0-3. They're just not good. It's not good. Not to sugarcoat it, but they're not good. Okay, all right. In the ELF, European League of Football, Munich Ravens extended defensive tackle Hiswil Awuya. Okay, he's played in the ELF since 2021. He started off with the Hamburg Sea Eagles. He was their team Rookie of the Year in 2021. He's a good player, and he's been around the league for a while. Good pickup by the Munich Ravens. They picked him up last year. They extended him. They're hanging on to their good defensive lineman. Good call. Vienna Vikings added offense coordinator Norm Chow. Norm Chow's had a huge amount of influence over football in the United States. He's been offense coordinator for BYU, North Carolina State, USC, UCLA, and many others, Utah. And really, he's a run and shoot expert. He's a West Coast offense expert. And air raid and the run and shoot all came about because of stuff that Norm Chow did. He was once the head coach at Hawaii. He was offensive coordinator at Tennessee Titans. And he was the head coach of the XFL in 2022, the LA Wildcats. Norm Child's a good pickup for Vienna Vikings. They have a pretty good offense already. They should keep getting better. Cologne Centurions are trying to turn things around. They have a new owner, Kevin Goen, I guess. No, Kevin Tu is the co-owner. My bad. He's a German entrepreneur. He's into marketing and social media, and he's trying to build a team up. They have solid things in Cologne. They have good football in Cologne. Cologne Crocodiles have been good in the GFL for a long time. But this team hasn't had it. Co-owner Sinad Makaviov, okay? He's the chief of branding and the co-owner. Also, they're trying to get it together so they get some people showing up to games and they can get some more players hooked up. That's how you build a team in Europe. Okay, Canadian Football League, some adjustments here. Montreal Alouettes, they signed American defensive back Don Callis. He went to Detroit. Calgary Stampeders signed American offensive lineman Justin Schaefer. He went to Georgia. BC Lions signed American wide receiver Joseph Skates. He went to Memphis. Okay, good. I also saw an article on 3 Down Nation that said the top paid quarterbacks in the CFL. It kind of just gives you an idea of where they're at in terms of like pay compared to the NFL. You know, why are people always looking to go to the NFL and not sticking to UFL or CFL? Why would UFL players want to go to the CFL? Here's why. Number one paid quarterback in the CFL, Nathan Rourke, who couldn't hook up with an NFL team but came back to Canada. He's getting paid $624,200 Canadian this year. He's a national player. He's probably like the highest paid national quarterback of all time in Canada. If you get paid that versus UFL, that's a much better deal. I would go play in the CFL. Chad Kelly, American quarterback for Toronto, won 2 Grey Cups in the last 3 years, $615,000. Zach Calaros has taken the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to 5 straight Grey Cup championships and won 2 of those, 2 out of 5, $600,000. Vernon Adams Jr., he's with the Calgary Stampeders now. He has been good, but not great for BC. He struggles in pressure situations. He moved on to Calgary, hoping to rebuild them. $465,000, that's pretty good pay for not winning a championship. Trevor Harris, who won a championship with the Ottawa Redblacks, I believe, way back in the day. He's currently quarterback of Saskatchewan Roughriders. He has a contract for $399,700, but if he hits any incentives, he gets $453,700. I mean, that's good pay, and I like the incentives contracts. I know players don't like it, but I like it because it makes you have to play better. Drew Brown, quarterback of the Ottawa Redblacks. He has a base contract of $354,700. So, excuse me, $354,000 and $354,700. Okay. Either way, he gets a lot of money. He's going to get $390,000 if he hits all his marks and incentives. Bo Levi Mitchell handled the Ticats. I've always said he's overpaid, but I guess he's not that overpaid. He's number 7 in the league at $323,800 and $374,000. When he first signed with the Ticats, he's getting like $550,000, which was at the top of the league at the time. But now, with restructurings and stuff like that, and not playing well at times, $374,000 is a pretty good number for him. He should come out winning a Grey Cup real quick, and then retire. Goodbye. This is the last year of his contract. Number 8, Davis Alexander, who's the new starting quarterback at Montreal Alouettes. He's American. His base pay is $258,000, but his incentive pay is $336,000 if he can max it out. That'd be a good deal. Trey Ford, another national quarterback for Edmonton Elks. He's right now listed as a starter. He's making a boatload of money, but not nearly as much. He's making under $200,000. McLeod Bethel Thompson for Montreal Alouettes. He moved from Edmonton, Montreal. He's not a starter, but he's getting a base pay of $185,000, and he gets a top pay of $263,000 if he hits all his incentives. Cody Fajardo, who won a Grey Cup with the Montreal Alouettes, is at Edmonton now. Not a starter. He's a backup for them right now. His base pay is $180,000. $260,000 is the max pay with all the incentives. Jake Mayer, Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's now going to be behind. He's the former starter at Calgary. He's getting down there. PJ Walker, who once was a great quarterback for the Houston Roughnecks in 2020. Why isn't he back in the XFL? Because he's going to pay $108,000, $260,500 for his incentives with the Calgary Stampeders. He's getting paid twice as much you get paid in the UFL. That's why he's playing in the CFL, y'all. That's why. Okay, all right, NFL news. A lot of NFL news, not as much as the others. LSU wide receiver Kyron Lacy committed suicide after a police chase. That was a tragedy. He's supposed to be drafted this year. You know, he had a good combine. He committed suicide after a police chase. That's not good. It's not good. I guess Malik Neighbors of the Giants would be like close friends with him, and he's pretty sad right now. I guess, you know, I would be too. My friend committed suicide. Dallas Cowboys. What do I have here? Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys and New Orleans Saints are starting their workouts today. They started their voluntary off-season workouts. Chicago Bears signed cornerback Kyler Gordon, 3 years, $40 million. UCF cornerback B.J. Adams is visiting the Dolphins today. Today he did visit them. Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carr visited the Patriots. I mean, they get the 4th pick. He may get picked by them. I have my mock draft coming up in a second here. He visited the Patriots. He's going to visit the Titans, Browns, and the Giants. He's already visited those teams. Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. You know, they lost a lot of money on that deal with Deshaun Watson. They said it was a horrible mistake, but it came out yesterday that they had a $55 million insurance plan on him, that if he got injured, that they were going to get some money back, $55 million, and they got that back, cash and their salary cap relief, so that helped them minimize the damage there. It's still not a good contract, but it minimized the damage. Alabama A&M offensive tackle Carson Vincent is visiting the Ravens today. He visited them. Okay. A bunch of other visits in New England. Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons, he visited the Saints, and he visited the Saints today. He's visiting the Cardinals tomorrow. South Carolina defensive tackle T.J. Sanders, he visited the Bengals today and the Bills Tuesday. Okay, Miami offensive lineman Jalen Rivers is visiting the Bengals today. That was earlier today. Georgia linebacker Smail Mondin visited the Ravens today. Max Crosby came out as being the first NFL player that not only is applying for the Las Vegas Raiders, but he's also now the official assistant GM for the Eastern Michigan Eagles, where he went to college, Eastern Michigan, in the MAC. And he's now their assistant GM. That means he's trying to do some marketing to get talent their way, okay, and do some fundraising and stuff. New York Jets, it looks like they have a lot of interest in picking up Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. That kind of foreshadows my picks in these drafts. Interesting note, Canadian quarterback Taylor Eldersma, who played for Wilfrid Laurier, he's going to Green Bay Packers for a top 30 visit. They're getting a look at him. That'd be crazy for a Canadian quarterback to get signed after Nathan Rourke got shut out. He may be a good fit in the CFL draft too. People are going to take a shot with him. I've heard Hamilton's injured, but they have a lot of quarterbacks already. I don't know if that's a good call. New York Giants, they got other needs they need to hit, mainly on the defensive front and the offensive line. New York Giants outside linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau has officially been named as trade bait. They would like to trade him in the NFL draft for something cool. They don't care what. They just want to get rid of him. Goodbye. Okay. Cleveland Browns signed defensive end Julian Okwara. Okay. Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons showed up to voluntary offseason workouts, even though he's looking for a contract extension. He didn't hold out of the workouts. They're voluntary. He didn't hold out. That's a good sign for the Cowboys. They'll say he's going to play ball there. Green Bay Packers signed tight end John Fitzpatrick. They signed tight end John Fitzpatrick for the Packers. And then Aaron Rodgers still in the mix. He's telling the Vikings now, hey, man, if you just sign me for 1 year, I'll help you win a Super Bowl, and then we'll hand this over to J.J. McCarthy. Although J.J. McCarthy is looking like garbage right now coming off his injury. They might do it. Aaron Rodgers is saying, just sign me for 1 year. I'll be out, and then we'll win a Super Bowl, and then they can hand it off to J.J. McCarthy, and I'm out of here. It's got word out 1 year, which would be weird because he's following the Brett Favre pattern. Brett Favre went Green Bay, the Jets, the Vikings. So Rodgers is trying to go Green Bay, the Jets, the Vikings. Remember in that Viking season, he made the playoffs, but was taken out by the New Orleans Saints and the bounty gate with Greg Williams. So, bad stuff there. Okay, and then finally to wrap this up, I have my NFL mock draft, round 1. This is my first mock draft, so I might do another one at the end of the week. I got number 1, Tennessee Titans, picking quarterback Cam Ward. Okay, Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward. Number 2, I got the Cleveland Browns picking Travis Hunter. Okay. Someone told me they thought New England would pick Travis Hunter. I don't think he's going to be there at number 4. New England need to trade up to get him. I think Cleveland Browns are going to pick up Travis Hunter. Give me a second. New York Giants, I think they're probably going to pick Abdul Carter, but I would not do that. That dude has no skills. He's got 2 moves. He's got a ghost move on the outside where he gives you a little stutter and go, and he's got a knife move where he doesn't have contain. I don't like him as a player. I like cornerback Will Johnson. Lamar's coming off an injury, though. He was working out for teams today at Michigan. I think he's a better bet. You want to fix your defensive backfield before you edge rusher. No one wins with edge rushers. Look at Cleveland Browns have good edge rusher. They don't win anything. Dallas Cowboys have good edge rusher. They don't win anything. Cleveland Cincinnati Bengals have good edge rusher. They did. Trey Henderson. They don't win anything. Maybe cornerback's the way to go. New England Patriots, I got them drafting offensive tackle Will Campbell. I mentioned that to someone in the chat today. They thought they would pick up Travis Hunter. I mentioned I think they'll pick up an offensive tackle Will Campbell. That's the kind of coach Mike Vrabel is. Jacksonville Jaguars, I think they'll pick up defensive lineman Mason Graham. They need to pick that D-line. Las Vegas Raiders, I think they'll pick up running back Ashton Jathy. I don't think he's a long-term threat at running back. He likes to run people over. That's not going to last long in the NFL, man. And he played in the Mountain West. So, I think he's got a lot of hype. Probably makes sense to go to the Raiders with a lot of hype, and then he's probably going to dip off. New York Jets, I got them picking Tyler Warren. So does other people. They say a lot of interest in them. They did tight end. They have a giant hole at tight end. Tyler Warren would be a great pickup for them. Carolina Panthers, I got them picking edge Abdul Carter because they tend to make bad decisions, and that'll be a poor decision. I think they'll do it. That's what they do. New Orleans Saints, I think they need a quarterback with Derek Carr being iffy on his shoulder, getting surgery. I think they'll pick Shedeur Sanders going to New Orleans Saints, and I heard that Coach Prime may end up being a head coach there. That'd be crazy, but Kellen Moore's the head coach right now. Chicago Bears, I have them picking offensive tackle Armand Membu. I think they keep needing to build that offensive lineup. I would draft that offensive tackle. This is a good draft to pick up an offensive lineman. So it's a line-heavy draft on both sides of the ball. San Francisco 49ers, I have been picking up edge Jalen Walker. Some people haven't got a receiver. I say nope. Jalen Walker. They need to fix that defense. Number 12, Dallas Cowboys. I got them picking up edge Shemar Stewart. Probably not the best pickup. Probably not the right call, but I'll give them 2 guys, Micah Parsons and Shemar Stewart, to be a threat. And then they don't have to pay Micah Parsons, or they don't want to because they can't move. If he has a bad season, they move Shemar Stewart to his spot, and then that's over with. Miami Dolphins, I have cornerback Jahdae Barron going to the Miami Dolphins. Indianapolis Colts, I have been picking up edge Michael Williams. I just think they'll pick up edge rusher. They like that stuff. They like picking up edge rushers. And this is an edge rusher heavy draft. Okay, defensive line, offensive line, a lot of good prospects. Okay, a lot of good running backs. Atlanta Falcons, I got them getting a linebacker, Jihad Campbell. They need a linebacker. They haven't had a good one since Jesse Tuggle. That's going to be a good fit for them. Jihad Campbell, will they pick him? Probably not, but they should. They should pick him. This is who they should pick, not who they will pick, honestly. Arizona Cardinals, I got them picking offensive tackle Kelvin Banks. Okay, you need to protect Kyler Murray so he can stand in the pocket and throw a ball once in a while. Cincinnati Bengals, a lot of people have been going for an edge rusher. I have been going for safety Malachi Starks. They need to fix their defensive secondary. They have not had a good safety since Jesse Bates left for the Falcons. Malachi Starks would be a good fit for them. Seattle Seahawks, I've heard they're going to pick up a defensive lineman, but by this time, a lot of defensive linemen have been picked that are pretty good. So I think they're going to pick wide receiver Tetora McMillan because they need wide receivers. They've been dropping wide receivers this year. Okay, Tampa Bay, number 19. I got them picking edge rusher Mike Green. Denver Broncos, number 20. I got them picking wide receiver Matthew Golden. They need a deep threat for Bo Nix. Number 21, Pittsburgh Steelers. I have them picking quarterback Jackson Dart because they need a quarterback. They probably won't be Aaron Rodgers, honestly. Number 22, LA Chargers. I have them picking tight end Colston Loveland because they want to run the ball there. They want to run outside zone. A good tight end will go a long way. And he played at Michigan, so Coach Harbaugh would have some experience with him. Green Bay Packers, I have them picking defensive lineman Kenneth Grant. They need some defensive line help. Number 24, Minnesota Vikings. I have them picking safety Nick Amanawuri. I saw one mock draft yesterday saying Bengals would pick Nick Amanawuri, which is a safety. I could see Malachi Starks going to Minnesota if they flip that. They could flip that. They're both picking safeties, I believe. But I think Malachi Starks is a better safety. He should go to the Bengals. Number 25, Houston Texans. Pick offensive tackle Josh Simmons. They're rebuilding the offensive line. They need a left tackle to protect C.J. Stroud. And they both went to Ohio State, so why not? That seems like instant chemistry. Los Angeles Rams wide receiver Emeka Egbuka will give them a threat. They've been losing receivers. They brought in Devontae Adams, but they need a young receiver to replace Cooper Kupp. And that guy would be a guy that go with Puka and Nakua. They could have a very good receiving corps from Matt Stafford. 27, Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to pick up defensive lineman Walter Nolan. That seemed like a good character pick for them. They need to pick up defensive lineman to stop the Buffalo Bills and the teams like that from running down their throat. Number 28, Detroit Lions. I've been picking edge rusher James Pierce Jr., just picking best available player. They need depth on their defensive line. A lot of injuries last year. Washington Commanders, I hope they pick up a running back. If they pick up a good running back, they could be a Super Bowl contender because Ashton Genty's not available. I have them picking up Omarion Hampton, who played at UNC. He's a more balanced running back. He's a lot more athletic than Ashton Genty. So I think they pick up Omarion Hampton. Buffalo Bills, I got them picking up Luther Burden. I think they need a deep threat. They have not had a good receiver since they lost Stephon Diggs. Kansas City Chiefs, I think they pick up an internal offensive lineman, a guard, Tyler Booker. I think that's a good pick for them. And then Philadelphia Eagles, I think they pick a defensive line, Derek Carmen. They tend to build a good team. Howard Roseman knows what he's doing. They're going to build a good D-line, build a good O-line, has Saquon Barkley, has a good quarterback, has a good defensive backfield. That's how you win Super Bowls, okay? So that's it for tonight's Football Scientific. It was a long episode. It'll be shorter tomorrow. We have two football workouts tomorrow, and then a Wednesday meeting. So it'll be shorter episodes the next couple of days, and we'll get back to some predictions. If you want me to go over something else, if you want me to touch on something, let me know. I may soon be a staff writer for Cincinnati Bengals, so that will change my attitude about things a little bit. Otherwise, remember to check out articles on CFL News Hub and UFL News Hub, and check out my Substack, Football Scientific, and subscribe to the channel and like the video. Football Scientific, close the portal.